losses for your Denver Nuggets at home. I haven't said that since I think you were in high school. That's what it feels like.
Yeah,
it's been a while. It's been about 10 years.
That was just only a few years ago.
Yeah,
I'm young.
I wish it were. The Nuggets lose tonight. You saw the game. They were up by 17 early, and then defensively they fell apart in the second quarter. And I don't know about you, I just had that feeling. When they can't hold a double-digit lead, and we've seen it 4 games in a row, you just have that feeling.
Yeah, it was difficult. The second quarter was tough to swallow because you had played so well in the first quarter, and you had done so on some pretty solid principles. You know, offensively, obviously, they're fine offensively, no matter what. But defensively, you were. It was 27 points. They didn't shoot a super high percentage in that first quarter, but then in the second quarter, when they started to hit on some things that really got them going, they never lost momentum at all, and the Nuggets were never able to put them from a hot shooting space back into a cold shooting space. So then you got to outscore him. Jamal Murray goes down. He tries to gut it out in the second half. He could not gut it out.
That's a concern moving forward,
right.
too.
And so now you're not really able to even keep him up scoring in the fourth quarter.
You're already missing 2 starters. Now you got a 4-game roadie coming up here. You wonder if Jamal's going to be available. If you want to talk about a lack of defense at home, take a look at the last 4 games at home. You can't simply outscore teams in the NBA, James, because other teams can score. They give up 130 to the Bulls, L. 128 to the Kings, L. 139 to the Spurs, L. 131 to the Mavs. This is all in regulation. These aren't overtime games. These are regulation scores. How are you going to win?
Well, look, I just think that some of this we're just going to keep seeing. Like, if you think we're not going to keep seeing high scores scored against the Nuggets, you're kidding yourself.
It's not on the road,
because
though. What, on the road?
It doesn't matter where the games are.
They've won 7 straight on the road, and the scores are vastly different. They gave up 112 on the road the other night.
Yeah, to Phoenix. Yeah, right. It's fine. Look, I just think that there's a reality of the situation for the next few weeks that we need to live in.
Yeah.
Not that it doesn't feel good. I mean, obviously it doesn't. Nobody wants to give up those kinds of numbers. The Nuggets weren't giving up those kinds of numbers early.
Sure.
Look, prior to the Phoenix game, I did a breakdown of the season in 3 segments. And the first segment was the first 11 games when you had everybody available. And they were one of the best defensive teams in the league.
They were 6-0 at home in the first part of the season.
Correct. The second segment of that I did was without without Christian Brown. He went down, yes to AG in their lineup, no Aaron Gordon. And then your defensive numbers just ballooned all the way up, right? So then the third segment I did was without Christian Brown and without Aaron Gordon, and the defensive numbers were astronomical. Yeah. And so, look, on one hand, you could say, well, you shouldn't lose to any of these teams, but the gap between you and the rest of these teams, because your players aren't the same players, does this. And so then it puts you in great jeopardy of if you're going to have an off night, or if you're going to not rotate out to shooters in the way that you normally do, you put yourself in great jeopardy. Your margin of error is just super thin, and that's where the Nuggets are living right now.
I don't want to argue with you because we have folks here, but Sacramento's missing its starting center, Sabonis. The Spurs are missing 2 starters in Castle and Wembanyama. Other teams are injured too. I just can't believe the fall off defensively from missing 2 starters.
Yeah, it's just it's styles make fights, Vic. That's what it is. And you know, it's when you are the Nuggets play defense, there's a lot of switching on the perimeter, right? So you got to keep the ball handler in check, and you got to keep ball handlers out of the paint, because once they collapse your paint, now you have to bring help. Now they can kick out to an open 3-point shooter. Well, when you have a perimeter of Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon, Cam Johnson, Jamal Murray to whatever extent, you hit a screen, you switch the screen, the ball handler stays in front of you. That is not happening anymore. They can't contain the ball from getting into the paint, not on a regular basis, and because of that, these teams are generating open shots. And teams like the Mavs never hit like this. They did tonight.
They did tonight.
The Bulls always hit like that, and they did in that game. The Sacramento Kings hit like that, and they did in that game. Yeah. And the San Antonio Spurs hit like that, and they did in that game. So when the Nuggets are going to play these teams, I didn't think Dallas was one of these here today. It's because they play bigger, they play a slower pace. But when the Nuggets play teams that put 4 or 5 guards on the court, and they play small, and they play fast, they spread you out, it's going to be a 130-something game. And in that respect, your offense has to be on point.
That scares me.
And the Nuggets weren't able to do that today.
Tonight was the night of two-way players. So a two-way player, that means they play in the G League if they need them, or they play up here. And these are both two-way players. Ryan Nembhard's a rookie. Spencer Jones is now a starter for the Nuggets. Look at what these guys did. These are both career highs. 28 points apiece. Heck, Spencer Jones started 7 for 7. He couldn't miss. But what a night for both players who don't even...
with some of these players, and he is, and it's showing.
Ryan Nembhard, the brother of Andrew Nembhard, right, from the Indiana Pacers. Both Gonzaga guys.
Yeah.
And, man, I had no idea that he had this offensive repertoire.
Yeah, this is what he did in Gonzaga. I mean, this is, he was a high-scoring, very high basketball IQ player. Can get to any spot on the court and knock down the shot. And, Dallas had been doing this thing over the course of the season. So they started Cooper Flagg as their point guard at the beginning of the season. Yeah. Complete and total mistake. He's not a point guard. He's not initiating offense. So they went away from that and found guys like Ryan Nembhard to be able to more approximate what a starting five should look like from the guard standpoint. And he caught fire, and he was really great tonight.
All right, when we come back, we're going to hear from Coach David Adelman, some of the players. We're all social, and, we like to reward the folks who stick around. We got a couple items we're going to give away, starting with this Jamal Murray autographed basketball. All right.
Yeah, that really is.
He is, oh my gosh, when you think of it like that.
That was the right choice. We've seen Logan has been here for the entirety of the game.
He has. We were going to do a little trivia, and my trivia question, if somebody can answer it, feel free to go to the mic. We'll give it. I'll tell you what, whoever can answer this question, go to the microphone right now, and here it is. What was Jamal Murray's nickname in high school?
Oh, wow.
His high school teammates gave him a nickname. I want to thank Katie Wingy for giving me this question, by the way. Oh, look at this. We have stumped all these Nuggets loyalists. I tell you what, you guys have some time to Google it. In the meantime, let's go downstairs and listen to Coach Adelman. Advent Coach's comments.
I guess you could say all that stuff, but I don't think it was effort as much tonight. I thought, we got up and down with them. We were scoring at a rapid rate. I thought our defense in the first quarter was really good. The activity, to start the second, though, we're not physical enough right now. And I think the stat that'll, kind of stands out to me is only 11 personal fouls. That says you're not putting your hands on people, and they're running free. And they did. And Nembhard had a career night. He's a young guy. Flagg got going. And I thought it was the 2-point shots that killed us early, the 3-point shots later. And this team obviously has really struggled to shoot the ball this year, and they had a night where they make 16 threes. But you couple that with our inability to get into people and get into the ball. I felt like Nembhard just played in space for the 34 minutes he played. So, yeah, we have to shore that up. We have to be better. Anthony Davis does what Anthony Davis does. He's a great player. Clay's going to make shots, all those things. But you can't allow Nembhard and Flagg just to move around the court and do what they want like we did. And that comes down to physicality.
I think back to training camp, you guys were talking a lot about how that was kind of going to be something that you would make a point to focus on defensively this season, even testing the refs to make certain calls. What do you feel like has been the disconnect with just sort of implementing the physicality that you guys have talked about?
Well, I think we're doing it, Billy, for short periods of time. And I don't know if that's an energy thing or not, but you have to find, if I have to play more people, I will. I stuck with that rotation. When Jamal got hurt, it disallowed me to play another guy. I felt like we got too deep into the game, that it would have been really unfair to throw Jaylen out there in the fourth quarter. So it was bad timing in that sense, but yeah, no, I think it's an energy thing. It's just something you have to commit to doing, throughout the game. And we're scoring the ball so easy. Sometimes you can fall into that. You're just getting up and down with the team, but that's not going to win you games consistently. We talked about that. And then what happens is we finally had a bad quarter offensively. We had 17 points in the fourth quarter. That's part of the NBA. That stuff happens. That's why you have to be consistent with your defensive effort. And it was not in the second quarter. I thought the third quarter we actually really did compete. But at that point,